structural issues?
One of the current issues that has been brought up by the Philippine Senate has been our emphasis on conditional cash transfers in the budget. Now, they say that these handouts are not the solution and we should go back to the traditional methods of relying on trickle-down economics as the key towards uplifting the lot of our people. We are of the opinion that we have something like 4.6 million families severely under the poverty line. And if we are not able to help them get even the basics, and also at the same time ensure that they keep their students in school, and also to receive the proper inoculations, the monitoring of various health conditions, they will forever be a drain on society, and the problem just gets on getting worse rather than being solved. They cannot rely, I guess what I'm trying to say is, you cannot rely on the traditional beliefs of the benefits of growing economy eventually trickling down. So one might say that that might not be characteristic of a feudal setup, but rather a socialistic setup. No? And I've been called socialist and communist at times in my life. No? But again, I think most of us subscribe to it primarily because a lot of us are Christians, and we are responsible for our brothers. That's where it comes from. Now, how are we able to do that? Because there is a lot of interest in the private sector for major infrastructure projects so necessary that frees the budget for all of these social concerns. Now, the emphasis on other items that will empower the people, microfinance, for instance, provision of more scholarships, is, I think, proof that we do not want to maintain relationships or structures or institutions that say certain Filipinos have X rights and other Filipinos have X plus Y rights. No? We have gone after what were considered perhaps sacred cows, no? In terms of our fight against tax evasion. One of the very first individual that so charged did not file, posted returns that said he had no income for 12 years, but also managed to buy a Lamborghini vehicle in the same period. No? Before, he was not even called to account for these actions. He was the first. Our Bureau of Internal Revenue files cases against these major tax evaders every other week. In between, the Bureau of Customs files cases against smugglers. So to date, we have already filed at least 7 against smugglers, 7 against tax evaders. Our biggest businessmen have received one promise from me during the campaigns. We promise you that you will have a level playing field. When President Marcos, I guess, started the crony capitalism issue, if there is one favored, this entity does not become competitive. There's no inducement for him to become competitive. When we have to open up our doors to global trade, we cannot compete because this guy has been subsidized and sheltered for such a long time. But we will promise you that government will help, will assist you, becomes your partner, does not seek to make you a milking cow, but rather will provide the milieu whereby you can prosper and rise to the levels of your competitiveness. That, in turn, hopefully will be the planting of the seeds for the long-term strategy of our ability to compete globally. So I cannot subscribe to the idea that we will retain privileges for a select few and keep us moribund in a situation where there's no potential for growth. Thank you.
This gentleman right here.
Hello, Mr. President. I'm Ken Roth from Human Rights Watch. You spoke in your opening remarks about ASEAN as a vehicle for promoting democratic values. And I think it's safe to say that the most controversial member of ASEAN has been Burma. Now ASEAN has been a tool for engaging with Burma, and that's not going to change. But your predecessors as president, including your mother, all recognized the need for pressure in addition to engagement. They were all quite outspoken about Burmese abuses. Today, the new effort to ratchet up pressure is being introduced at the United Nations in an effort to create a commission of inquiry to look into the atrocities committed by the junta as a way of making clear that ASEAN and the world will not stand for those atrocities and to try to prevent them from spilling over into the future. Is that an effort that your government would support?
Can I just speak on behalf of the Philippines, as I have just met with one of my counterparts? the plight of Burma, especially personified by Aung San Suu Kyi, a person my mother admired and perhaps can identify with, has merited my support in various petitions, various resolutions when I was a member of the legislature. Few weeks ago, perhaps a month ago, I did talk to another ASEAN leader. And this guy is a freedom fighter. And he opened my eyes to the other side of the coin. And his premise went something like this. If the junta in Burma goes, you will have so many divergent groups who will probably have an unstable country. And for the near future, his premise was, this junta is, in a sense, the stabilizing factor there. That was the first time I ever was introduced to that concept. I believe that any government that does not truly have the mandate of its people is actually just postponing the inevitable, where conflict, the natural tensions will come to the forefront. And if there is instability in Burma, that affects the whole region. We will be compelled to assist in case there are people who flee, as the case of Vietnam in the past, where we became host to a whole lot of Vietnamese boat people. And it behooves us to really try and help them achieve stability and a resolution of all of these tensions where the mandate of the people is not really that clear. Towards that end, we will encourage all the other members of ASEAN to revisit this engagement policy, and we will ask what is the best method of dealing with a regime that basically tells the whole world, we don't care what your opinion is. We recognize our limitations, but again, it will not stop us in trying to promote that which will bring the mandate of the people to the forefront and be the key towards long-term stability, not only for Burma, but the rest of the region.
At the Atlantic, we have a term that we use for the kind of public speaking that comes at the very end of the meeting. We call it the Elizabeth Taylor School of Public Speaking. So as Elizabeth said to each of her 5 successive husbands, I won't be keeping you long. You honor us by coming today. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for educating me as well.